Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by tall trees and colorful flowers, there lived a young woman named Eme. Eme was a brave girl with big bright eyes that sparkled like the stars at night. She lived with her mother in a little house. Sadly, Eme's father was late. He was a hunter. Eme remembered the times her father would take her to the big field near their home. He taught her how to use the gun he kept for hunting. "You must always be careful, Eme," he would say, "because a gun can keep you safe, but it can also be dangerous." Eme listened carefully, her father's love and knowledge wrapping around her heart like a warm blanket. But life was not easy for Eme and her mother. They had a wicked uncle named Etam. Etam was not nice. He wanted more land and thought that taking everything from Eme and her mother and only left them one land would be okay. Etam had a son named Akan. Akan was not a good boy. He would do naughty things and would make trouble in the village. He would sneak into gardens, steal fruits, and laugh as if it were all a game. Eme did not like him very much, but she tried to stay away. She thought, if I ignore him, maybe he will leave me alone. Eme's mother was pregnant and was due to deliver. The village midwife, an elderly woman named Agatha, was known for her gentle hands and kind heart. Eme knew that Agatha would ensure her mother was safe, and she felt a spark of hope. "Stay close, dear Eme," her mother whispered just before going to the labor room in Agatha's home, where the midwife specialized in welcoming new life into the world. Eme nodded, holding tightly to her mother's hand for a moment longer before watching her leave, her heart swelling with anticipation. The moment felt like hours as Eme peered outside Agatha's house, the sweet scent of blooming lilacs filling the air. She watched the cloud drift lazily above and listened to the sounds of the village waking up as she anxiously waited for her new siblings. With each passing minute, she imagined what it would be like to have a brother and sister. Would they be playful just like her? Would they laugh and cry, filling their home with joyful chords? Suddenly, the door flung open and out came Agatha, her face beaming with warmth that calmed Eme's fluttering heart. "Come in, dear," she beckoned, her voice gentle like a soft lullaby. Eme followed Agatha into the house, where she noticed her mother reclining comfortably, a serene smile dancing on her lips. "Eme, come quickly." Eme rushed to her mother's side. There, her mother was holding two tiny bundles wrapped in cloth. "Look, Eme," her mother said softly, "you have a brother and a sister." Eme's heart filled with joy, looking at the two beautiful babies. But then Eme felt a sharp pang in her chest. Her mother looked very tired. "Eme," she whispered, "you must be brave. Take care of your brother and sister. Don't let your wicked uncle Etam take them away from you. You have our farm, and it will help you." Tears filled Eme's eyes, and she nodded her head. "I will take care of them, Mama. I promise." But just as her mother smiled, her eyes closed, and she drifted away into the sky like a beautiful bird. Eme felt her heart break. She hugged the twins tightly, feeling the weight of the world on her small shoulders. She knew she had to be strong for them. Days turned into weeks, and Eme took care of her new family. She named her little brother Okon and her sister Nkoyo. They were so small and needed a lot of love and care. Eme often thought about her father and mother and how they taught her how to be brave. She remembered what her father said about the gun, so she made sure to keep it safe, hidden in a special place in the house. But Uncle Etam did not forget about Eme and the twins. He wanted to take the farm for himself, One day he came to their house looking mean and angry. "You little girl," he shouted, "you are not fit to take care of this land and children. Give them to me." Emma felt scared but stood tall. "No, no, Uncle Etam, these are my siblings and this is our land," she replied, her voice strong and clear. Etam laughed wickedly. "You think you can stop me? I will take everything from you." Emma clenched her fist. She remembered her father's word about being brave. "You can try," she shouted back. Then she ran inside to gather her courage and then brought out the gun her father had left her. She thought of all the lessons her father taught her, and she felt a wave of strength. She took the gun and held it tightly, not to use it but to show it. "If you come any closer, I will pull the trigger," she warned. Etam saw the determination in Emma's eye and realized that she was very brave. "You can't scare me," he sneered again, but he seemed less sure now. While a firm hand, Emma yelled, "Leave my brother and sister alone. I will not let you take them." Her heart raced, but she knew she had to protect her family. Etam was afraid that she might pull the trigger. He immediately ran out of Emma's father's compound. When the twins were just 3 months old and very cute, one day, Okon, the male twin, got sick and Emma needed to take him to the hospital. When they arrived at the hospital, the doctor said Okon needed help, but it would cost a lot of money, 100,000 naira. Emma's heart sank because she didn't have that much money. She thought for a moment and decided to ask her uncle for help. When she went to see her uncle, he said he would give her the money, but he had a condition that made Emma sad. He wanted her to give him the only piece of land of her father that was left with her. Emma shook her head and said no. "That land and the little house I live in are the only properties of my dad left with me. I can't give them up." Her uncle also said that she should hand over the twins to him, but Emma loved Okon and Nkoyo very much, so she refused again. Emma knew she needed help, so she went to see her mother's friend. When Emma told her mother's friend about Okon, mother's friend listened carefully. She wanted to help, and she did. Thanks to her kindness, Emma found a way to get help for Okon without giving up her land or her siblings. But her uncle's wife had a plan. She called a meeting with the council women in their village and told them to convince Emma to hand over the twins. Emma was summoned to the council for a meeting. One by one, the women came to speak with Emma, but most of them sided her uncle's wife, saying that she was too young to be responsible. Emma felt scared and alone as the women surrounded her, but just when she thought all hope was lost, one kind woman named Mama Ifi stepped forward. She looked at Emma with a warm smile and said, "Why should Emma give her twins to her uncle? I have seen those babies, and Emma is doing a wonderful job taking care of them. Look at how healthy and happy they are." The other council women paused, thinking about Mama Ifi's word. Emma's heart soared with hope. She felt like someone was standing by her side. Emma took a deep breath and said to the council women, "I promised my mom that I would look after Okon and Koyo. She told me not to give them to anyone, especially my uncle. They are my responsibility, and I will not let anyone take them away from me." With tears in her eyes, Emma looked around at the council women, hoping they would understand how much her promise meant to her. Mama Ifi stepped closer and added, "Emma is only a teenager, but she has shown such strength and love. Taking away the twins would not help them or her. They need each other." Slowly, the other women began to nod their heads, realizing how much Emma cared for Okon and Nkoyo. They understood that love and family mattered more than anything else. Eventually, the council women decided to support Emma. They told her uncle, that he could not take the twins away and that Eme was doing a great job, Eme felt a wave of relief wash over her, knowing that she could keep Okon and Koyo safe. From that day on, Eme continued to care for her siblings without fear. With the support of Mama Ife and other council women, she knew she was not alone anymore. Together, they created a strong bond of friendship and protection, ensuring that Eme and her twins could remain together, happy and safe as a family. One warm evening, Eme decided it was time to fetch water from the village stream. She tied one of the twins on her back with a wrapper and carried the other twins on her chest. She carefully picked up a large gallon of water, her determination unwavering. Eme walked with grace that belied the weight she carried, her heart focused entirely on her little one's need. As she made her way down the narrow, dirty path, laughter echoed through the air, breaking the serene silence of her surroundings. Two girls of her age, Yvonne and Eno, from the neighboring village, were also going to fetch water. They paused and took notice of Eme's unique predicament. A girl not much older than them, carrying a heavy load of twins and gallon of water. Moved by compassion, they approached her. "Hey there, need a hand?" Yvonne called out, concern etched across her youthful face. Eme looked up slightly surprised but grateful. "I'm okay," Eme replied, trying to sound brave despite the strain in her arms. Eno shook her head, stepping closer. "You are carrying so much. Let us help you with the water. We love to be your friends." Eme hesitated for a moment, her pride nudging her to refuse their help. However, the intensity of their kindness began to break down her defense. "Really, you don't have to," she said, smiling shyly. Mfon and Eno exchanged determined glances. "We want to. We see you're working so hard, and it's inspiring," Eno said cheerfully. With a sigh of relief, Eme nodded her approval, and the girls took the gallon of water, but Eme refused to hand over the twins because she didn't trust them yet. Together, they began walking back towards Eme's home, laughter and lightness filling the air as they shared stories and inspirations. As they strolled, Eme learned that Mfon and Eno loved to explore just as she did. They talked about their favorite places, shared their dreams, and began weaving a bond that felt as natural as flowing river by their village. Once they reached Eme's humble home, the atmosphere was warm and filled with sweet aroma of herbs from the garden. The girls helped Eme set the table and even prepare a simple meal together, laughter erupting with each clumsy attempt to stir the pot or slice the vegetable. After they finished the task, Eme couldn't resist the urge to thank Mfon and Eno. "I don't know how I would have managed without your kindness. I didn't think I could make friends, especially while taking care of my siblings." Eno replied brightly, "You are amazing, Eme. It's wonderful to see someone so caring. We are only too happy to help out." Mfon nodded in agreement. "You don't have to face this alone. We are in this together now. Let's explore the world as friends." That day marked the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Eme discovered that even when life was challenging, support and companionship could blossom unexpectedly. Eno and Mfon became an integral part of Eme's life, helping her care for Okon and Nkoyo when they are free, bringing laughter and joy into their little homes. As the years passed, Eme dedicated herself to her siblings, ensuring they were well fed, safe, and happy. She changed their diapers, rocked them to sleep, helped them learn to walk, and even taught them how to read and write. Okon and Koyo grew up knowing love and affection that only a big sister could offer. As the twins approached their teenage years, Eme's friend Eno and Fon had gotten married. Many suitors from the village admired Eme for her strength and spirit. They would come to her house, each hoping to win her heart, and asked for her hand in marriage. Eme was flattered by their attention, but she always politely refused. "I cannot marry," she would say gently, her voice steady. "I have to take care of my siblings. They need me." The suitors were often surprised. They admired her selflessness, but many of them didn't fully understand why she would choose her siblings over a love of life and companionship. As the months turned to years, the twins blossomed into thoughtful young adults. They noticed the suitors coming and going and often asked Emma why she rejected them. "Sister, you deserve to be happy too. Why don't you want someone to love you?" Nkoyo once said, her voice filled with concern. Emma smiled and sat down beside her siblings, wrapping her arms around them. "You both are my happiness. Every moment I spend with you is worth more than anything else in the world. I made a promise to take care of you, and I intend to keep that promise until you can stand on your own 2 feet." Okon and Koyo exchanged glances, realizing how deeply Emma cared for them. They decided to support her in every way they could, helping with chores and responsibility to lighten her load. They wanted her to know that her sacrifices hadn't gone unnoticed. One day, a charming young man named Essien, who lived in America, came to visit his parents. He was kind-hearted and had a warm smile that made everyone feel at ease. Essien quickly became friends with Okon and Nkoyo, and they enjoyed his company. Essien soon learned about Emme's dedication to her siblings, and instead of trying to win her over with grand gesture, he offered to help Emme instead. "Let me help you with your toys and spend time with your twins," he said one evening when they were all gathered. Emme, surprised by his kindness, agreed. As Essien spent more time with the family, he learned how hard Emme worked and how much she loved Okon and Koyo. He admired her selflessness and realized that marrying her would mean loving and supporting her entire family, not just her. One sunny afternoon, Essien approached Emme while she was tending to some flowers in their garden. "Emme," he said gently, "I admire how you care for Okon and Nkoyo. It is truly special. I can see how important they are to you." Emme looked up, her chest tightening at his kind words. "Thank you, Essien. They are my everything." Essien smiled back. "What if I told you that I want to help you take care of them? You don't have to do it all alone. Together we can make our lives even better." Emme felt a warmth spread through her. Could she share her life and her responsibility with someone who understood? "But I am not ready to marry anyone," she said carefully. Essien nodded, a soft understanding in his eyes. "I am not asking you to marry me right now. I just want you to know that I'm here for you and your siblings. Whenever you are ready, you don't have to give up your love for them. You can have both." Emme felt a sense of ease wash over her as she realized that it was possible to balance love for her siblings with the possibility of love for herself. Over time, she and Essien grew closer, forming a beautiful friendship that blossomed into something more. Weaving together the traits of family and love, Emme learned that having support didn't mean she had to choose between her responsibilities and her happiness. As Okon and Nkoyo continued to grow into their own lives, Emme realized she could have a future of her own while always cherishing her role as their loving sister. In the warm village, Emme's heart was finally free to embrace love, knowing that both her siblings and her own happiness could exist side by side, creating a beautiful tapestry of family and togetherness. Emme and Essien shared wonderful moments together, and she believed that with him she could build a beautiful life. Emme finally agreed to marry Essien. However, not everyone was happy about Emme's plan. Our wicked uncle, who felt jealous and threatened by the idea of Emme leaving for America, wanted to keep her close to home. His own son was irresponsible, and he knew that if Emme married Essien, she would leave the village, and the attention and opportunities would shift away from him and his family. Determined to stop Emme from marrying Essien, our uncle devised a cruel plan. He conspired with a group of ruthless individuals, hiring them to harm Essien. His jealousy blinded him to the love Emme had for Essien and the happiness they could share. One fateful evening, as Emme prepared for her wedding, news broke that Essien had been attacked. Panic and fear surged through her as she feared for his safety. What Eme didn't know was that her uncle's plan had been foiled. The assassins had been caught by the police before they could harm Essien. However, in the chaos that unfolded, Eme's uncle spun a web of lies, claiming that Eme had been involved in the plot against Essien. Despite her innocence, the police arrested her, believing her uncle's stories. Eme's heart shattered as she realized what was happening. She could not understand how her dreams had turned into a nightmare. In the courtroom, Eme pleaded for the truth to be heard. "I love Essien. I would never hurt him," she cried, but her words fell on deaf ears. The jury, swayed by her uncle's deceitful testimony, found her guilty. The verdict shocked the village. Eme, a girl full of dreams, was sentenced to life imprisonment. Her heart ached not only for the love she had lost, but for the family that had turned against her. In a small cell, Eme often thought about Essien, praying that he was safe and far away from the troubles brewing in her village. Months turned into years, and Eme held on to hope. She believed that one day the truth will be uncovered. Unknown to her, Essien had been devastated to learn about what happened to Eme. Determined to clear her name, he began his investigation into the events that led to her imprisonment. After gathering information and testimonies from those who cared for Eme, Essien presented the evidence that proved her innocence. With a fierce determination, he fought hard in the court, determined to bring Eme back. Finally, after a long and arduous battle, justice prevailed. The truth about Eme's uncle's wicked plot was revealed, and Eme was exonerated. The court recognized her innocence, and she was released from prison, her heart soaring with relief and happiness. When Eme was finally reunited with Essien, tears filled her eyes. "You never gave up on me," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "Never," Essien replied, holding her tightly. "You are the love of my life, Eme. I would move mountains to make sure you are safe." Together, they left the village with the twins and began a new chapter of their life in America. Eme learned the value of love and courage and how powerful truth could be. They built a new life, one filled with hope and dreams, a life where they could chase their ambitions together, free from the shadows of the past. As for her uncle, the deceit was exposed, and he faced the consequences of his action. His uncle also confessed to his being responsible for the death of Eme's father. Eme found solace in knowing that despite the darkness that had clouded her life, she could finally embrace the light of a new beginning with the man she loved. Together they soared to new heights, leaving behind the pain and cherishing every moment of joy and freedom. Thank you for watching. Please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more inspiring stories. Bye.